Let's go ahead and get started with computer preparation. I'm going to show you how to show hidden folders. Now this should work on any version of Windows, any of the recent three. We're just going to type in show hidden, and it pops up already in search, show hidden files and folders, and you may need to search this whole name. And you're going to want to check, it should, by default this will be checked. You want to check show hidden files, folders, and drives, apply, and we're done with that step. Next, we're going to know your computer specifications. It's important to know how much RAM you have, and it's important to know how much hard drive space you have for creating partitions. So let's go ahead and hit start, and we're going to go to the control panel. Okay. System and security. System, view amount of RAM and processor speed, although hitting just system should go there anyways. This computer has 4 gigabytes of RAM, 3.44 gigabytes usable, and so we'll use that in our future information for setting up the server. Okay, now we want to know how much hard drive space we have in order to create a hard drive partition. We can actually see that in the program that sets up the partition. So we're going to type in the search create and format, and it should already pop up by then. Create and format hard disk partitions. You're going to open that application. We're going to view the primary disk, disk C. This is all disk C. As you can show, it has disk 0, and it will list them if you have multiple disks. If you already have a separate disk that you'd like to install your Minecraft server on, you're more than welcome to. I only have one disk here, and so I'm going to create a virtual separate disk, and I've already done that here, but I will show you how that is done. You right click on your primary disk C. You're going to shrink the volume. That is, you're going to cut off a section of it to use separately. So go ahead and shrink your volume. Just choose that option. Now while it's querying, I will show you the math used to get 30 gigabytes, because it's going to ask us how much to shrink it, and it's going to ask us in megabytes. Now 1024 is how many megabytes are in 1 gigabyte, so since we want more than 1 gigabyte, which is what this equals, we're going to multiply this by 30 because we want 30 gigabytes. The answer is 30,720 megabytes. Here is where it's going to ask us, how much do you want to shrink? Now, the number we came up with was 30,720 megabytes. Now, if you type that in here, 30,720, it will show you the remaining space left afterwards. It's important to note how much available space you have in the first place, and you can do that by just going to any file. Let's go into File Explorer and open that up. Go to this PC or PC and look at your primary drive C. Mine shows 292 gigabytes free, which means I have 292 usable gigabytes with nothing on them. That's plenty. If you do not have enough space, if you don't have 30 gigabytes of free space, you're going to want to make some space. You shouldn't have a hard drive that packed full in general, and a hard drive, a good operating server is going to need a minimum of 10 gigabytes if you're going to have quite a few plugins like we are. So make sure you resolve those problems. This leaves us plenty of space. We know that we're good because we didn't add any extra zeros, which would have left us no space. We're going to go ahead and hit shrink. I'm hitting cancel because I've already done this, and it created this here. With this, you want to hit new simple volume. Next, this is what we created by shrinking. Yes, we want to use all of the space. I personally like to do S for server, then hit next. NTFS is good. Volume label, you can leave this, it's optional. I'm going to label mine server. This is fine. Next, finish. We have 30 gigabytes formatting, and there it is, our server drive. It's a virtual drive, and in this PC, we now see that there's a separate drive called server drive over here that we are going to install our server to. Let's go ahead and minimize this for a moment. We also want to create a second partition, but we're going to take the server drive and shrink the volume by 10 gigabytes, which, since 1 gigabyte equals 1024 megabytes, we're going to add a 0, that's 10 gigabytes. We're going to shrink this volume, the server volume, and we're going to take this 10 and we're going to create a new simple volume. Yes, as much size as it can use. And this, I'm just going to put B because this is the backup. I'm going to, and this is important, I'm going to mount this into a folder. I'm going to mount it within S. I'm going to create a new folder. Okay, that didn't work right. Hold on a moment. I'm going to mount it within S and create a new folder called Server Backups. Okay, S Server Backups is where this separate hard drive partition is going to be located. I'm going to call it Server Backups. And we're done with that. Okay, let's take a look at how that looks. Within S, there is server backups. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay. Now the reason that is because backups, if you have the problem that I have and it doesn't delete your prior backup and it creates a new one, you can create a data flow problem where there's no space left, and if you do not have a separate partition, the lack of space can cause problems with other files within your server and destroy properties files as they are rewritten during a save, and it's not something you want to happen. So that's that. We have got our partitions.